ever wondered why is it that we start the year feeling mega motivated, super hopeful, and very excited, and only to get to mid-January, pretty much around this time, we're already feeling that it's really heavy, we don't know what we're doing, and you're probably sitting there thinking, oh my God, what is wrong with me? Why can't I just stick to things? I am so lazy, I'm such a procrastinator, etc., etc. If that is you right now and you're getting frustrated or stressed, I just want to say it clearly before anything else. This is not a discipline problem. And it's not because you're lazy or inconsistent. If you're curious, why is it happening and how to actually stop it for good, then make sure you keep watching. You know, it's really interesting. Most people treat January as a reset button. It's almost like, oh, because we've ended 12 months now and we're starting a new calendar year, I'm just going to hit reset. And at that point, 1st of January, I'm going to be super clear on exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to be mega energized. I'm going to be very disciplined, and I'm never going to have any problems from now on. And all the problems you had previously and all the old patterns or whatever it is that you were running are just going to suddenly disappear because it got to 1st of Jan. Have you ever been there? I know I have. And what happens is by middle of January, we're finding that now we've gone back to work or our businesses, life is now happening, the weather is not the greatest in some countries, and now we're like, oh my God, okay. So that plan I set out was really, really hard. It's really, really difficult to stick to. I suddenly run out of time. I'm suddenly running out of energy. I'm running out of discipline. I'm running out of this, running out of that. And what happens is we start going downward spiral. It's a self-talk that literally criticizes us and tells us we are not enough, we are not going to be ever successful, we're always going to be failing at this, that, and the other. And we start believing it. So guilt, shame, despair, stress, overwhelm, frustration, all of these emotions start coming up. Literally within the first 10, 15 days. If we really take time to think about it, we're basically saying at the switch of midnight, suddenly we're going to turn into a brand new person. It's actually pretty impossible, because what's actually happening is we have been so programmed by the outside world to reinvent ourselves by January or in January that we expect ourselves to be completely changed. But actually, real change doesn't work like that. Real change requires awareness, it requires action, it requires time and consistency. So what actually happens in January is that it's bringing everything back into the surface. The expectations, the pressures, the part of us that actually are ready for change, but we don't quite know how to move differently just yet. When you're starting to struggle with your New Year's resolutions or even with your intentions, it's showing you two things. It's either that we're forcing goals that don't match with where we are internally, which means that actually it's not something that we really want to do, or it's not something we want to prioritize right now, or we're trying to move forward with old patterns that no longer serve us. What does that mean? Well, the first scenario is that we might be choosing goals that actually we don't agree with or we're not aligned with. Let's say you see on social media that people say exercising 5 to 7 days a week is perfect, or exercising before breakfast is the best thing ever for you to lose weight. But for you, you have to work really early, or you physically can't fit in 5 to 7 days of exercise, then you're setting a wrong goal for yourself. Rather, wouldn't it be better if you actually set something that's realistic for you, maybe 2 to 3 times a week, but actually do it consistently? Isn't that better? What happens in the first scenario is that because we've seen this idea work for someone else. We want to adopt it and we go, well, if it worked for them, it should work for us, without really thinking about what is their lifestyle, what is their choices, what is their priority, and without really thinking about what are our own answers to the same questions. Now, the second scenario. The second scenario is that, yes, the things might be the right thing for us. So to continue with the example, going to the gym and exercising X number of times a week is great, but we're not doing it because we are being held stuck by our old patterns, aka our mindset, going, yeah, but it's really cold outside and the duvet's really warm. Yeah, but actually we hit snooze last time and nothing happened. Or yeah, but I'm gonna do it tomorrow. Those are the old patterns that you're running. What's actually happening here is that our minds are keeping us safe, which means it's clinging on to old patterns and old habits without the consideration of, oh, but actually we're ready to move on. We might be ready to move on, our souls might be ready to move on, but our minds are not. So there will be a little bit of internal disconnect between the mind and the body and soul, and that fight makes it harder for us. If we're not aware of this, it becomes easy for our old patterns to catch hold of us and just pull us back to our old ways. In either scenario, being ambitious or driving yourself too much can actually force us into fight or flight, which means it adds extra pressure on our bodies. What happens when we have extra pressure on our bodies and on our mindset? It forces it into fight or flight, and then it makes it even harder for us to make a change. This, by the way, is not failure. This is information. The struggle isn't actually a problem. The struggle is actually a signal. It's a sign, and it's something for you to become aware of. What the struggle is actually asking you to do is to notice, to become aware of what is actually keeping you stuck. Is it scenario one, where you're actually doing things just because other people are doing it? Or is it scenario two, which is where you're running old patterns? Or maybe it's a mix of both. Whatever it is that you're struggling with, when you actually allow yourself time to sit down and tune back in and reconnect back to yourself, you'll realize that this discomfort, this stress, this disconnect is actually here to show you why things are not working, where else could you improve on, before you can take a clear next step. That's how you can start using your awareness to create choice, aligned choice. So the question to ask yourself is not, why am I such a procrastinator? Why am I so lazy? Why am I always falling off the wagon? The question is this misalignment or is this conditioning? Am I forcing something? Or am I repeating what used to work for me but no longer works anymore? Whatever your answer is, it's okay. That's why January is the perfect time for you to understand yourself, for you to give yourself the reframe. Slowing down is not the equivalent of giving up. Doing less actually helps you get more clarity. Because when you take more time to become aware of yourself, to connect back to yourself, that's when you can really truly understand who you are right now, where do you want to get to, and then you can start closing that gap. So when you start using January as orientation rather than acceleration, that's when you can really start succeeding in the whole year. So from this January onwards, stop measuring yourself daily. Stop doing things to actually just tick the box. Start focusing yourself on alignment before outputting. Start thinking about what am I choosing for myself before you do something, before you take action. Is this aligned or not? And then choosing one stabilizing habit at a time to start giving yourself the guidance that your body requires in a safe and intentional way. This is exactly why we created Unleash Your Inner Light Retreat, because it's not about fixing you or pushing you harder, but it's actually about giving you the space that most women never take, to slow down, to listen honestly, to actually reconnect with what's true for you, and to create what exactly it is that you want going forward. We have decided to host it at the end of January because it gives you enough time to see what's not working. And then by the time you come to us, we are then able to tell you exactly how to use our process to move forward to have an amazing, successful year in 2026. If this resonates with you, I've left the details in the description below. And whether you join us or not, let this video be the permission for you to stop forcing Januaries and actually start listening to yourself. If you would like to have more tips and awareness on how you can actually start living a free life, then make sure you hit the subscribe button below.